though, right?
Oh, there's always is. Hello, everybody. How are you, everyone, tonight? We are joined by Chris and Diana of Heroshack
Ooh.
and Cluster Fudge. And oh my God, I read Cluster Fudge 1 today. That's why I was running late. And um I loved it. I actually was just gonna give it a quick read before the stream, and I ended up reading it twice.
Thank
So
you. I should have sent you a PDF of number 2. It's ready to go. It's just I wasn't thinking ahead. I was playing around with video.
He's making that video for the show.
But hello to everybody in the chat. Hey, Lorenzo, nice to see you. Hello, Lionart. Oh, and Dean's here too. You know,
What's up, guys?
Oh my
yeah,
gosh, look at your chat.
believe that we actually have Dean. I am not sure who Intense Webs is, but hello, nice to see you.
So just so you know, Intense Webs is a NFT specialist in the circle of artists that we know.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to describe them.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Well, hello, welcome everybody. So, we just dropped. Everybody says no, it's Dean. Anyway,
Oh.
I really enjoyed Cluster Fudge. It was extremely dark, which I had been warned about because Smug,
Yeah.
I had listened a little bit to the well-read review at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it all.
Several times.
But Smug Pug had already told me,
Right.
that he thought it was really dark, and it was, but it was beautifully intense. That's what I'm
It's a
gonna
nice
say.
bit of
I have to tell you, issue 2 it's gonna get a little crazier, but it will all go into a climactic, beautiful ending in the end. Issue 3.
Yes.
Which is already almost done itself, but issue 2 is done. And some of that was affected by what I heard in the critique,
Yeah.
which was a nice little thing, because as a writer, I had a thing firmly set in stone, and just hearing the response, particularly to the end, it changed how I saw the story, and it made me really want to dig in and get to a better place with it.
This whole story, though, came about during the COVID lockdown. It was a very dark time in our household, as for many. And he started writing this story when he first initially told me the name of the book's going to be Cluster Fudge. I thought he was kidding. I'm like, what? What?
I have many titles that don't go beyond the talking stage. I throw ideas at her every day.
But I think he intended it to just be like a standalone, whacked out graphic / comic book, the end of it. And then when we saw the well-read review, I'm like, some of the guys were saying I wanted to commit suicide after reading this. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? There were things in there that they saw that were not even intended. So
well, as a creative person, when you create something, sometimes you don't realize how it will set people into a certain mindset. And when they were telling me their responses, I was like, I did not they thought at one point that he was sleeping with his dead wife's body, and I'm like. No, but because I set such a dark tone, they were so receptive to it that it was I did have ideas on how a sequel could go. I didn't think we would actually do one. And then when I heard all the responses, I was like, yeah, now I want to climb out of this pit and take them to where the story should go, and then it started writing itself in a whole different way. It's still super dark. It's going to get a little darker before the light comes out.
Yeah.
But it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Same intensity, just better art, because the art just keeps growing.
It does. It does.
Oh dear.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. I love the well-read show. I love the reviews. They may be boring to some people, but it's a great way to say, I didn't read that book or back it, but now I have a little idea, and it'll, affect me in the future. I've backed other books based on what I've heard on shows like that and that show.
Yeah, I think long form, in-depth reviews are a really good idea. There aren't a whole lot of them. I mean, lots of people read and they do these surface things, but very little that gets in depth. And that's kind of missing.
Well, his boring tone is kind of harmony to me. Well, when you listen to Well, he's got like that welcome everybody to Well Red, you know, and it's like just very
that's just because you're all over the place and needed to calm you down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He just kind of makes.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
No, not at all.
No, but that's you hit it right on.
My favorite streamer is a guy named Techmoan. He's a British guy that talks like a doldrum.
Idea.
You know, it's like
he listens to this guy. And I'm like, why? Just listen to his voice.
He's very calm, and all he does is talk about old electronics that I don't care about. But I'm like, tape players were cool. Yeah, it's like no.
Tape players were cool, especially especially when you finally got the one that had the double player, so that you could go ahead and dub your tapes and make mixtapes that way instead of having.
Were the days.
Oh my god. Well, we just nailed the roots of where everything I do comes from, which is the 80s and a touch of the early 90s. And then I was kind of growing up through that. But I was definitely an 80s kid. Ghetto Blasters, which weren't called that back then. There was another one too. But there was an even more darker one that society has forgotten that I cannot repeat.
Yeah,
there was. In New England, they used to call them it was Ghetto Blasters, and there was the N Blaster.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that. That's how old I am. There was a time when that was cool to say.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the first thing you could carry music around with was the Walkman CD thing, and it was gignormous. And then Sony finally came out with one that was just a little bit bigger than the actual cassette tape itself. And you were like, yeah. Before CDs, those are the.
I remember the first iPod.
Yeah.
I remember the first cell phone.
Wait a minute, you're making a statement on age there.
My dad had this car phone, man, that took up most of the trunk. He had to have it actually take the car down, have it installed, and it took up most of the trunk of his car. And I was just like, my God, this thing is gignormous. But
so Dean, the first record I ever bought was Kiss Destroyer, but it was on 8-track.
Yeah, I don't know about 8-track.
We had an old Malibu.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
With an 8-track player in it, and shuffling through those things on long family drives, and they were always shit because like my parents had this really weird taste in music, you know. But yeah, that was just crazy too.
I was raised on bad country.
Actually, my dad listened to it was a lot of jazz and classical in the house. And then I guess he tried helping, or at least being helpful with my mom's liking of pop music. So, but it was like this, you know, when I was a kid, it was this weird 70s shit. I don't know how many times I heard "This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius" in the car, driving across the bridge, going to grandma's house, you know, and you're just like, oh,
not again. Oh, that's funny. That is so funny.
Those are all like old songs, Dean.
I know. Dean's like, he hasn't said anything. Way out. That's usually how I am. See?
That's how she is with
I get
pop culture stuff. Yeah, she's learning it. But yeah, so not to distract too much, Cluster Fudge is kind of funny because the old man is probably from the 60s in terms of when he grew up. But the little girl, of course, I'm trying to write into this age and this culture. And I do have insight because I work with kids, so I understand children of the modern era. I don't really understand them, but I know what they're like, you know, like
you know what they're about.
Kids these days, now I sound old. I'm like, wow, I can't.
Oh God.
You guys, all of you, including Vicky, all sounded old to me this whole time.
Thanks, Steve.
Hey, you know that song that I put in the video, Hellraiser, I thought that was a modern release. I didn't realize that's like a 15-year-old song or something like that. It's like, oh yeah,
you're relevant, yeah. That's us, Heroshack.
I play in the shop. We play music all the time, and I'm like in control of what we end up listening to. And sometimes it's strange, like flamenco guitar or Italian disco. But I start disco and old 70s funk gets like the best reaction from everybody. People start dancing around to the disco, and you're like, yeah, see?
That's funny.
Diana goes through waves of that with me because when I'm drawing and creating, it could be metal one day, it could be the 70s the next day, it could be 80s dance. She's like,
80s
and
flash,
it's just because there's something I'm drawing from the music into the art. Like if I'm trying to draw something happier, I'll go play like Marvin Gaye. And if I want something creepy, it might be Alice Cooper, it could be Metallica, it could be, Slayer.
That screamo stuff. I'm like, how do you even I just
that screamo stuff is just
I don't care.
My
That's
nephew's into
brutal
that.
drawings, though. If you're drawing like a lot of blood splatter and things like that, it's good for that.
Draw, so I wouldn't know.
No, you wouldn't know, but it's okay. But you do hear it.
I guess I do.
Yeah.
Uh,
When Vicky came on, when I came in, Vicky had me in the room, and I'm like, oh crap! I had the music just on a loop.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit! But that's what I do. I just run the music loud and.
I was downstairs. He texts me. I'm downstairs in my office, right? Finishing my homework because I'm in school. And I'm in the middle of a quiz. And he's like, you got to hurry up. I got my last question wrong. So I was just, screw it. Just pick that answer. It sounds good. Yeah.
Well, you had a probably 25% chance.
Yeah, well, I didn't do well.
You don't do well.
No, I did. I did well in the quiz, but I just missed that one question. So.
And it's all his fault.
It usually is, yeah.
Of course, right? I didn't read the whole chapter. I was supposed to, but I'm like, no,
no, she keeps me around because if I wasn't here, she'd have everything too well organized. I keep things interesting. It's true, yeah. I think she needs something to. Remember that song? I guess you just what I needed by the Cars. I needed someone to lead. Yeah, she kind of looks at me like that. Yeah.
I do not. Yeah. Oh my God! You're so full of it.
I think Vicky keeps me around because she hates herself.
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah, it's true. It's whenever I need it. It's.
It's whenever you need it.
I'm not even going to comment because I don't even know who you guys are anymore. I feel silly because what I said earlier, I'm like, now I don't know how to respond to anything.
Well, you do this all the time. You open up.
No, just it's okay. He, there are lots of people in the world that think Dean is a gay Muslim. It's all right.
No, I don't see what the issue is. I am a gay Muslim.
You've won the prize.
I'm brave.
I was just saying.
He's stunning and brave.
Yeah, no, I feel weird.
Why are you looking at me? I didn't tell you.
Oh no, honestly, it's all for the good, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You'll never invite us back again. You just like totally.
Oh no, we're gonna be inviting you back every time you have a book. Are you kidding?
Oh, you see, that's something I want to talk about tonight. You guys, we're not even sure if we're going to keep crowdfunding because I want to do a book like every 30 days, which means like literally I'll have to jump like from Kickstarter to Indiegogo because they don't allow it. So it would if I did it on one, I could only do it every 60 days. You know what I mean? But like my output is gonna, unless I slow it down even more, but
which he should.
Well, no, they're telling me to
Just saying.
People are telling me to do 24 pages an issue, right? I can do 24 pages in like 2 weeks, which means I'm way ahead of like any monthly schedule. Like just
But you have been doing you've been getting them done in 2 weeks, but you've been going back because I've sort of said slow down your work.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying.
And then he goes back and he looks at the art and he's like, oh, no, I gotta fix that. Wait, and I'll come home from work or whatever, and he's like, look what I've done. I've changed the whole format.
Yeah, sometimes I redraw the whole page.
So I think it's good that you take your time.
But I mean, I think the way the Kickstarter and the Indiegogos are set up, like you have to prove you fulfilled before you can do your next one.
It so just what are you getting at? So you don't want to do kicks? You don't want to do?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
You could do a 48-page instead of a 24-page book.
Exactly. That would slow them down a little bit.
Too.
No, that would actually, that would make the gap fill in better because At 24 pages, I feel like I haven't even started to sweat, you know?
Yeah, just do a 48-page book instead of a 24, and then you can also put them up on Amazon. And then
Well,
Amazon will do the printing and all the fulfillment for you. So all that's like out of your hair. It's not a hassle that you have to worry about. But if you did like a 48-page book,
my biggest thing is
it would
the
work.
marketing of our books. Like, so he does all the creative end of it, like he does all the books, and I do the editing part and all of that. But I'm the one that's supposed to get the books out there and sell them.
But there is a point that we're forgetting to say here, and that is that all the books generally are on Amazon as well.
Yes. they are.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I don't.
that's part of my lack of marketing capability.
But I don't generally like to advertise that because so anybody who wants to make a comic should understand the first thing we did was we started making crappy comics. And
that's what you should do, make crappy comics.
No, listen, I'm being serious. I jumped in and I started making comics that nobody would want. And I wanted a printed copy. So I published it to Amazon and I bought a printed copy. And it was that simple. And then Diana and other people around here thought it was cool. So they said, why don't you go to a convention and try to sell them? So I started doing this. And then I discovered Kickstarter and Indiegogo. And I was like, wow, look at this. What a way to sell your book. You get out there, you promote it, people get involved. And so I started crowdfunding using Amazon as a on-demand printer. So when you see me put up a campaign for 500, it was interesting because Diana did this last one as a flexible. And I didn't have a concern in the world because I had never done a flexible. And I'm like, shoot, if we only sell 10 books, so what? I'm ordering them in demand. I know the pricing. I have everything sorted out. I can afford this and deliver a package that kicks ass. Let's do it. So it's like, is crowdfunding worth it? You know, like, is it a promotional tool? I know that it's generally intended to fund the creation of a book, but the way I make a book, it's all me. So it's not like a
it's not like we have other artists or other people that we have to pay. Chris does basically the writing,
No, Chris does everything.
He does everything.
I just look at her and I just
edit. Wait a minute. I edit. I give my insight.
And she corrects
I do all the mailing. I do all that stuff. He makes it sound like she's just here.
No. Well, to be honest, she corrects everything I do in writing because I always have a typo or two. And she also goes over the edges of my stories.
Because I never knew how to read even a comic book. Right. Read this,
but my stories are generally rough and gritty. And she tends to go like, okay, so the ending of Cluster Fudge 1, she rallied against, and that was one I won on. I said, no, I'm not changing this.
I thought it was an awful ending.
But she has changed other points of stories where I've gone, okay, I'll listen to you this time.
Yeah, we sort of do it out in our own way.
Right. So there is a tug and pull, and she usually wins.
Well, she's supposed to.
Right, exactly. She's the editor, so I have to say.
Well, no, I mean that's not the reason why, but I mean it's a good.
I'm the wife. And it's a very cool relationship here. Okay?
But no, in
I have to put my editor hat on, and I have to say, listen, you told me that I have to be strict. You told me that I have to stand my ground. If I feel like something's not working in the arc of the story or whatever, you need to. And sometimes we have to take separate corners because he won't listen to me.
But then I do. I mean, I really do. It's a matter of getting over myself because sometimes as a writer, you'll put some crap in your story that you don't care. You want to put that crap in there. And it doesn't make sense. You know, the editor goes, why is this here? And
why do we need this? Why do you have to have a, 3-balloon expose on something that's not even part of the story? Because I wanted to. I'm like,
I want to develop this character. She's like, no, you can do that better. Stop telling,
we do some of that. The best is when I look over his shoulder and he's like drawing anatomy of a male or a female. And I just got to stop him, guys. Like, listen, I got to say, those don't look right. Like if they're the boobs of the girl or the breastises, right? They don't look right. You've got to fix it. You got one pointing up, one pointing down, one's too big. It's like, good Lord, who are you using as a model, right? Or like he'll put, we did a children's, we were doing we have done Great Cyclopean 3, and I'm thumbing through and I just stop and there's a page Now this is for all ages. It's primarily geared to the kids, right? And there's a lady with her butt sticking in the air with nothing on, like a thong. I'm
She
like,
was wearing
you
this-
can't
yes.
put that in a children's book. I mean, you literally open the page and you see her two cheeks right there. So I made him take that out. I said, you can't.
Yeah,
It's just
well,
not gonna
and I
work.
listened to her. I was like, yeah, you're right.
Cluster
I
Fudge,
wasn't
yeah.
even thinking about it. You know, I was just
I'm
drawing
like,
the character.
I can't hand this
But-
out.
So
to
now she has a
kids.
mini skirt on, and
There you
it's
go.
appropriate. But
Yeah.
But
So
you were
things like
just
that.
teaching kids, you know? You're
Yeah,
just
well,
teaching
no.
kids.
You know what it was?
No,
Really? I really think it was because I've been working back and forth between a G-rated book and an R-rated book. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah.
drawing the character in the G-rated book and forgetting this is the character in the G-rated book. So
Yeah, not in.
Hold on just a second. It's not. I have been reading the chat. But TJ, this isn't that kind of stream. That's why I'm not sending you the link. Sorry.
people are probably confused because they're like, why are these old people in Dean's stream?
Yeah, why are we here?
I know, right?
We're here because we're having fun.
Well,
Yay.
I'm honestly honored to be here. I don't know why I'm here. I was excited to be here, but like my video said, I didn't do anything wrong. It's funny because when we were invited, I went to Diana. I said, I don't know, they might have found some dirt on us or something.
I said,
and
what?
Oh no. I actually really like doing just these streams where we get to know the people making the books that we're reading. I mean, that's
that's awesome.
Because
you
there's no
know.
excitement. Like I listened to some of the shows that you guys, and there's an awful lot of drama out there. There's a lot of people that aren't very nice to each other. And I'm like, where are their mothers? Anyway, so I tend to like run from that, not because I can't stand my ground. I can, but my time is very important to me. And I really don't like getting drawn into silly conversations. Twitter's the worst. If somebody has an issue with something I've said, or if I've hurt somebody's feelings, I'd want to know. But I won't go into that tit for tat and that kind of stuff. I just don't. It's just not my thing. But my husband, on the other hand, he does kind of put himself out there on Twitter, and I could wring his neck sometimes, you guys. I'm like, if you want to get into a debate, if you want to have like that kind of conversation, use your personal Twitter, right, guys? Use the Chris T one, the one that nobody knows. Don't go on their business one, Heroshack, and start splattering all kinds of foolishness. So I try to hold him back, but I can't, because obviously I said to him the other day, I said, do you remember how they shut Trump's Twitter off? Yours is going to be, I'm going to ban
Well,
you.
I actually got banned for 12 hours. No, yeah, it was 12 hours because I said a group of activists were akin to an insane mob, and they didn't like it, the activists in general, so they protested, I guess.
Oh my
And
God.
so I had to delete the tweet.
We don't,
And I'm not some principal guy. I'm like, fine, whatever, I'll take it down, you little crybabies. But then I had to wait for the band to let loose, and I'm like, oh man, that sucked.
My point is, and I say this to Chris all the time, for Heroshack, it should be about our business. It should be positive stuff. It should be all about the book, right? I don't know how many of you follow him. Sometimes
Only
it
about
gets
300.
a little sketchy. Gets a little sketchy. That's all I'm going to say. And in the background, I want to wring his neck. And I know he makes valid points, but he needs to go onto his
See how
personal
she just
Twitter.
placated me there? I know he
Yes,
makes
I
valid points, but
did.
I'm very good at that. I'm very good at that. But it's true.
she's right. It's just that, like, I want to be honest with people about who I am.
And he forgets to switch. I guess you can switch. Like
No,
if
I
you
can
have-
switch, but I don't.
Why don't you?
Because nobody reads the other one.
Oh my God. I can't even with them. You guys, I tried.
Well, the
Try.
thing is, Heroshack,
I
the
just
Twitter account, I don't generally
Oh.
advertise it,
We
but
don't use it in any of, like, it's not even on our
yeah,
website.
she won't let me put it on
Like,
there.
good God, no. I'm reaching out to libraries and people that are like,
But I want everybody to know, even those libraries, who I am. I'm
Well,
an
that's
80s
just-
conservative independent, which means
that's just great.
I vote for anybody that I really want in office based on what they say. But I've been
How's
told
that,
clearly that
going
I'm
for you?
conservative.
how's that going for you?
What do you mean?
Oh my gosh, never mind.
Pretty good.
Listen, all right.
I love people in general. It's just I have these sets in my head.
No, you do, and like it's with the autism. He's got like the autism factor. I call it the tism. It's like he's wigging out.
The tism schism.
It's like I need to go and hang with just neurotypicals that like really can relate to what I'm saying, because sometimes it goes way over his head. So with that being said, there are times that he gets stuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like he gets stuck in stuff.
Oh, no, like, she means the obsession thing, and I think that happens for everybody. But
no,
like I'll get in a 24-hour schism and I can't get off a topic, and then I'll break away from it, and it's fine. But
it's fine. But yeah, he's definitely out there. He's definitely different. It's definitely being. It's very different to be married to a man that has high functioning autism. That's all I'm going to say about that.
No, it's not. It's the same old deal.
No, it's not. But, Vicki, you had mentioned something a while back in this conversation about, like, there's not a lot of people that review comic books in depth, right?
Mm-hmm.
You usually get like, oh, they're great, or you got to check this out. The artwork is fantastic. Or I would love to see more people that read comic books. Obviously, my purpose is because I want them to read our comic book, but I want the feedback. Like, I want to know how to take Chris from where he's at right now to become a better writer, a better artist, like all of those things. And the only way that I feel that we could really do that is by getting people to read and do a review on books, not just our book, of course, but other people's books. Like, wouldn't that be cool if somebody could do that? Like, set up a
what the hell are you talking about?
Like, set up a stream.
Actually, we were talking about just doing a review show of really shitty comics. Like,
yeah, well, that they could too, because maybe they would.
Dean, I gotta tell you, you don't even read comics, so what would that look like?
Well, I would read comics if it was reviewing really bad comics. I would read the comic for that. That sounds fun.
That would be
It
fun.
sounds like a fun way to pass time. And it's not that I'm not down. Sorry, what?
No, that would be fun. That would be okay. They would still learn something that they really need to work on their art, maybe, or their writing.
Oh, not even. We're actually. I mean, we're talking like professional, big two, like mainstream shit, and not even the new stuff, but mostly like the really
some of the older stuff.
Old stuff. Like even some of the
things that are like iconically bad.
Or I mean, there are professionals in the comicscape realm who couldn't draw hands if their life depended on it, and I would love to be able to like go, yeah, see, like this entire comic, like how they're hiding hands, they're in pockets behind their backs,
or hidden like this.
People notice that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no. Yeah, we do notice.
Yeah, I think every artist does it. There have been times when I'm sketching out like the layout and I'm drawing it and everything looks great, but this one corner where the hand looks funky, and I'll go enlarge and just take it right out of the border, and there you go. It's all better.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it's all right to do it every once in a while.
Yeah, but when your whole comic, like every panel is clearly like hiding like hands or just something in particular.
Or nobody has feet.
And he's like, "Do you see my gun? I have it facing you now."
Or nobody has feet. Like all the panels are cut off. You can't see anybody's feet. Yeah, eventually.
In the world.
By the time you've gotten to like the 6th or 8th page, you tend to, you'll notice that if it's a consistent pattern.
I would rather draw a bad foot than hide everything in dust, though. That's one thing I know what you're talking about. It's always bothered me.
Yeah.
You never see dusty roads anywhere in the world. Even in the wilderness, it's all like pretty much matted down.
Yeah.
But certain artists, everywhere they go, they just have dust, like that guy from the Peanuts with the
Pigpen.
Like he's just really admitting dirt, It's like, no.
It's so funny. Out of this.
I like Pigpen.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was always my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was a weird kid.
We're just alienating Dean every time we talk now.
Right. Jean, do you have any questions for us? Like, who the heck are we? Yeah, me. He's like, he's actually watching another stream. He's just here. His little icons here.
Yeah. No.
No, I
mean,
do. I do have questions.
Okay.
You were saying that this was written during COVID, or like the first one, right?
Yeah.
And now, so you probably, like, it was a pretty dark time. That's what you were saying. So that translates into the writing of it. But was there anything else that you sort of drew inspiration from?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Oh. So like there's
Well, I'd
so
love to
much
hear about it.
interlaid. Yeah, there's so much interlaid in there, and it gets kind of personally over dramatic, and it doesn't need to be. But like when they called it a feverish drug dream, I kind of giggled because like it was drawn in the throes of fevers, and it was reminiscent of all the sicknesses and all the depressions and everything you go through. And it's like at 52, and I'm not lecturing, but at 52, I've been through a lot of crap. So when I start drawing dark, I start pulling from all sorts of stuff, not just like from how I handled and dealt with life, but the things that I was around and saw. And just there's a lot of cruelty and coldness. So I wanted Cluster to kind of have that touch to him where you would just like, this guy's just a dick, like fuck him, you know? And I think we kind of got that.
Yeah, you were successful.
Right. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I'm going to
Cluster like
redeem
that.
him in the end. But the way that he gets there isn't going to be pretty, you know, and that's why the book is not yet the sunshine.
So a lot of it is from the stuff that you went through.
Yes, all my life.
Right.
And we could go over, you know, like my life and go, oh my gosh, oh my God. But it's not that big of a deal. Everybody goes through, you know,
Stuff.
Right. And what I've gone through is likely no worse than what anybody else has gone through. It's just I always say this, everybody's the star of their own movie. And I look at it and I'm like, look at all the arcs of my movie.
Pulling
You know?
that out. Oh
right.
My gosh.
Well, it's true. I think everybody's the star of their own movie, but everybody else is your co-star. You know, and it's like, so I have this afterlife belief that I'm going to sit down with Jesus in a theater and he's going to watch my life and we're going to talk about stuff and then we're going to go party. And it's going to be that way with everybody. You know what I mean?
With? Oh my gosh. honey, I'm the star of my movie. You're my co-star, okay? Now remember, remember, you're the star of. He goes through this whole scenario.
I do because I'm a co-star.
That's
in
when
her
I go
movie.
grab a glass of wine and I say, you know what? I'm just gonna chill. You tell me how it is, honey. You let me know exactly how this is supposed to work.
When she does that, I know I'm in trouble, and I start going, no, I'm okay.
The best is he always is the day I met him. He always describes me as a vehicle.
No.
Like a car?
Like a car. So I'm not a skinny person. I'm a little, I've got some holes and stuff on me. I'm not, I'm beautiful. I'm just voluptuous, whatever. So what did you tell me? Honey, you're not like that little sports car, like redhead model.
I told you weren't a Maserati. You were a classic Volkswagen.
I was a classic Volkswagen. He has a Volkswagen. I looked at him and I said,
like a little bug?
Yes.
I love the bug. And she was like, and I'm like, honey, you don't understand.
The little 69 bug, you could beat the shit out of the transmission.
Yeah.
You'd hope that it would start, like it would always
stack
stop.
It up and you drive it down the line.
Do you see him? This is what I
being able to fix it on your own. Just
when he starts to give compliments to me, and then he goes into the car thing, and then the star of the show. That is like the times that I really just need to call somebody up and say, so
single men, that's the secret.
I don't know. I think Lamborghini would have been a much better choice.
No, the context is missing. But the context is missing because we were talking about Jessica Simpson. Because at the time I called
this
her,
is going back 16 years ago.
I called her an angel. She had a Christmas commercial and she came out and ooh la la, and I was like, she's such an angel, and she didn't like that. So I said, honey, no, she's like a Maserati. Nobody wants her, She's just you are a classic.
You're like a bug. That made me feel so much better.
I thought it would, but it didn't.
No, I had to explain to him that most women don't want to be complimented by using a car. Like, you could have come up with like maybe a flower or something. No, you don't get it. And I'm like, so that's just a little snippet from our personal like adventures.
Now, 16 years ago, though, she was ready to kill me. She actually, that was before I was diagnosed.
I had no idea. I thought he was nuts.
She took me in for a diagnosis before she divorced me because she was like, it's either we're going to figure out what's going on or I'm going to leave you.
Yeah.
And then once she figured out what was going on, because she is OTPT in that field.
So listen, I work. I don't know what OTP. She's OTPT. They're like over the.
Is that another
physical,
diagnosis?
Not another.
No, I'm an occupational therapist. Okay, 20 years.
Okay.
Old. I'm also a registered behavior tech. So I have worked in a healthcare type of situation, working with kids, primarily my husband. And so I knew there was something up with him when after we started dating, and he was acting really like there were some things that, like, why are you being like that? So I said, all right, listen, if you want to save this marriage, we need to go and talk to somebody. And through that conversation and lots of other stuff, we figured out that yes, he indeed has high functioning autism. So Asperger's, you like to reason it.
Well, I am an Asperger.
But once I recognize that, and I think anybody out there who has a loved one with any mental health or physical anything, once you get it, like, you can work with that. Like for me, anyways, I can like Chris and I now have a thing. We communicate. We know exactly what's going on.
Well,
But
and
back
in truth,
then,
though, yeah, but wait a second. You got to understand something.
Gosh.
In truth, that was actually when the whole thing with the comics really started, because that's when she started. I hate to say this. She started helping me figure out what was keeping me from being able to do this in the first place. Because when I was 18, I was on the same road. I was headed to making comics, and I cracked and went down because I didn't know how to handle the resistance of the world that said, no, you're not ready.
Yeah, because of the rejection, and like you weren't where you think, like Chris thinks he's supposed to be there, and in reality he's right here. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. Like, so I have to kind of pull him back and say, let's reevaluate where you're at. Like, let's look at it. So,
but in doing that, she got me to where I am today. And, you know, some people look at it and go, where are you? Who cares? As time goes on, this just keeps building, and everything gets better.
Cares? I care.
Oh, well, I'm talking about the critics.
Well, yeah. I mean, and
well,
there's
we care.
Critics.
Thank you.
But there's always going to be critics. I do not care who you are. There is a critic. There is going to be somebody that does not like your work for whatever. And you have to know that when you get into the creative. Don't look at the sky. It's not going to tell you nothing.
I'm thinking
Did you see? He was like, let me think. No. It's true, right? I mean, you could name probably the most popular comic book artist off the top of your head, and you would find, if you look, somebody that's like, well, you know,
John Byrne.
He's okay. Well, you know,
John
like,
Byrne.
Yeah, that's you.
I don't know anybody who would put him down. People would put down Jack
I don't
Kirby.
know if, like, I can't say that I know these people.
Jim Lee.
I'm just saying, all right, can we just change the subject
yes,
now? I'm going to stop talking.
No, but it's true. There's always going to be some, because it's also subjective.
Of course it is. Right.
You know, I mean, and you see it in the community now. There's plenty of people that like books that I just look at and I'm like, oh, I can't, I just can't. Man.
Right,
like
exactly.
Artists, or you know, some people that think like one book that, like, there's a book I read, I thought the writing was shit, but other people think it's good. I mean, you know, so that's just par for the course.
Yeah,
you have to learn to, if that's the road you want to take, you have to learn to just let it
just go right off.
Go right off. Take the stuff that is actual critique, because there's critique and then there's criticism, right?
Yeah, there is.
Critique is there to help you, to, like, you know, show you what someone thinks could be better or different or whatever, versus just, well, that just fucking sucks,
right? And it's true, because even like for a lot of people, when you put something out there, you know, like I'm working on my own little thing on the side. I'm scared to pieces to put it out there. So I haven't just yet because I'm still working on it. But I know that when I do, I have to prepare myself that when people look at it and read it, they may not like it. But what I want to know is like, do you just not like it because you're being mean, or you don't like it because it's missing, certain components that it should have, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
See,
But
when
I
I get a
think
mean
that-
one though, I just take that as I'm just not badass enough yet.
Right, and that's what he does. He's
Right.
like, "Oh, that's it. I need to do work harder." And
Well, no, you know how I learned that though? I used to be pretty critical of someone pretty big, EBS. And finally I looked at his stuff and I'm like, just shut your mouth, guy. He's doing his own thing. It's really good. What the hell are you trying to do? Like I get that people don't like some of the business things. It doesn't affect me. I don't care. He's a good artist, Like I've learned a lot over the last 3 years because when I first came into Comicsgate Circle, I was like highly critical of a lot of stuff.
oh my God, don't even. Do you have
War
to mention
campaign
that?
and all that.
I remember.
Yeah.
CG. You guys know
Yeah.
right? Oh my God.
So now I'm just like
I still don't know what that is.
CG.
I mean, I know it's Comicsgate.
Right.
I know it's a group of artists that are kind of like Comicsgate artists. And
See, she's warped. It's fans. It's about the fans.
I don't even know, but the thing is, it's like they're good artists. So what if they?
Well, that's the thing. I had to
hashtag
learn to
CG.
stay in my lane as far as like, if it's not affecting me, I'm not going to worry about it. You know.
Yeah.
And if it's that big of a deal, I can watch DMV investigations and I'll hear about it.
Because you guys, that's why seriously, when Chris said, "Oh yeah, Vicky reached out," and I said, "Okay, so because you guys know he was on Twitter. I don't know if you know, and he was causing some stuff. There was some stuff going back and forth with another person, and I just said to myself, "Oh no, it's not going to be that." I thought maybe that's why.
Oh no,
Okay.
not at all. This is my.
I don't think we
channel.
ever invite anybody on that like we're gonna be like talking about.
You don't do cope streams.
Yeah.
Oh well,
No.
We don't.
that's very good.
Yeah, this is all. This is literally just to talk to people. I think it's much easier. It's an easier sell. I know that sounds weird because this isn't. We don't do like typical shill streams. We don't do those streams where we sit and we scroll through your Indiegogo and go through every freaking perk or anything. But I think it's an easier sell when people know something about you. If they find something about you that they like as a person, and then
Right.
they that generates interest and makes them want to read your
Exactly.
what you're producing, because they see like the passion behind it and they hear where you're coming from, and I think that's more fulfilling for me to do
I
this.
think
Now if somewhere down the road, if like 6 months down the road Chris does something that's like,
I will kill him.
yeah, I mean he'd be
I would.
Look at her. She thinks that's a bad thing to say,
I
but
would
no.
pull his big toenail or
No,
something.
but no, I know what you're saying. And you know what? That's
We know
kind of
what
why
you
I love watching you guys, because I know that
He's not.
it's like you hold people
No.
accountable. If I say I'm going to have a book out and then hold off for a year, I know I'll make your list.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's just the way it is. It's like.
But we won't ever do that.
No, because that's
Never,
not our
ever.
gig. Yeah.
I will never.
No, I've been watching. I've been paying attention. Chris and I have been friendly on Twitter for since you entered this space, basically.
Yeah.
And all of your campaigns have delivered. All of them have fulfilled on time, as far as I can tell. I haven't seen any that have come out, or don't remember any that are.
Well, honestly, just to be transparent, remember Last of the Reapers, we were like 30 days late and you were like going crazy?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
She was like going nuts on me. I'm like,
that was sort of like a straight, but that was a like almost felt like a last minute idea for a campaign to try and just do like that was last Halloween.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
it was, and that's exactly what happened. I was so because I was like, I can't believe this, and I don't ever want to do this.
But that's
again.
that's the passion behind our projects. We're like, if we set a date, like we're debating about we were debating about the 60 days on Indiegogo. And we want to do the 30 because we promised the backers now that we're going to do it in 30 days. And if we extend it another 60 or whatever you do,
I don't really think that extending it another 60
or 30,
like I just, it's like, the book is pretty much done at that point.
Yeah,
Before we open up crowdfunding, whether it's Indiegogo or it's Kickstarter, that book is usually done. Like I'm just editing it for the final time. We're getting ready to ship it up and get it. So I don't want to do like a 60 days. I did it. What did I do it on? By accident.
Oh gosh, it was Cluster Fudge 1. I think you did it on.
Was it 60 days?
Yeah.
And oh, it was painful.
Yeah, we just waited for it to end. It was like, and I know that sounds crazy because people want to multiply their money, obviously. But if we put $500 in and we hit that, we're like, good, let's get on to the next one.
We're trying to build our readership. So of course, you know, we want to make money as we're doing it. We're not. I mean, we're just not. It's kind of like, yeah, this is great. Let's keep going. But I really think that sounds terrible. We're not making money, but that's not why we're doing it. We're doing it because he loves to create. I think he is an amazing creator. I think some of his ideas are way out there that have to be tweaked a little. You have not seen those ideas, probably will never. But but the point is, it's like we need to build our readership. We need to, I feel like, get out there and say, hey, this is Heroshack. And this is Chris and Diana.
Well, and part of that for us,
we want to share what we
is obviously if I'm going to be a one-man show, I always have to improve. And the only way I know to do that is to keep a schedule, grind, make your books, make the best you can, and just keep improving. Like I mentioned John Byrne earlier, because one thing I remember, he's like my idol. And I remember him saying, you know, if you do something wrong, just don't do it again. Just keep
make it a lesson. So like if people who, let's say, who have backed Cluster Fudge 2 and they read it and they're like, what in God's name was this? I want to know about that. I want to know your, like I do, send me an email. We say it right up front, like shoot us an email. Okay, if you want to tweet about it, fine, but you know, we'll find it. But I mean, it's better if you say, listen, I read your story and I think that X, Y, and Z just doesn't seem to make sense. So like, let us know, because we want to continue to grow as creators. We want our stories to be, you know, enjoyed by others and whatnot. So that's kind of what we're all about. And I'm talking way too much. You guys should.
How long does it usually take you from the close of the campaign? I know it's 2 weeks before they send you the money, right? But how long does it usually take you to get to finish fulfillment? Like
about a week normally, because when we don't wait for the funds typically, because
so what I would recommend,
what's that?
Keep it in demand for like 45 days after you close. That gives people enough time to get a book and talk about it on Twitter, do a little promo for you, and people can still then go and get the book.
Now the in-demand thing isn't the in-demand isn't like the 30-day thing, right?
No. You can keep it in demand as long as
like at a bookstore. That's how I looked at it. It's like, oh wow, look at I can still get this book. It's in demand. We actually left that up for Cluster Fudge for a long time.
Yeah, you kept forgetting because I was like, you said to take it down.
You need to take it down. I'm like, why? I mean, if somebody comes along and it looks interesting, they can buy it. But we ended up taking it off in demand when we started this campaign.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think that is probably what we would do, because what are you doing?
I'm just showing off the cover while you talk.
Oh,
the first one. This was the first one, and because of the new campaign and everything, we created the second one.
Oh yeah,
this is the new cover on issue 1, but it's the press print.
Nice.
So yeah.
So no, and then I think that's probably what I'll do with Cluster Fudge 2 is to keep it in demand, because if the word gets out and people really like it and they didn't get a chance to buy it, I mean, they could always go to our website, and I think Chris was talking about that earlier. Maybe not doing crowdfunding, but advertising to get people to our website to buy the book. You can buy the book directly from us through our website.
And the advantage of that is, you know, number one, I guess people like it signed. I got to be honest, I hate getting my book signed just because I think I don't want it signed. I want the book. But if people like that, I do it for them, no problem. But like, we can also build packages at a much lower cost. I love putting bling in everything we send out. So
right. So that was something we had talked about doing, and we're not really sure if that's the way to go.
Yeah, we haven't
So
figured out exactly what we're
if
doing
anybody's
in the
out
future.
there and they're like an expert in crowdfunding and hear this and they want to give us some advice, that's great. You know, we'd love to hear it. So I think I don't know, we haven't decided.
We're probably going to do one for the Great Cyclopean 3, just because it's the nature right now. That's what we've been doing. But I don't know if it's necessarily the future, because I don't know.
Well, we have our books in a couple of our local comic stores, so I'm very excited about that. We have a few more comic stores that want to carry them. So that
Nice.
is
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're really
Exciting.
excited about that. And I'm got some letters. I'm drafting a few. I'm actually in the process of drafting letters to the local libraries. I've spoken to some of the.
Yeah, we want to put Cluster Fudge in your library.
Well, we could in the adult section, right? I mean, I was.
No, the Great Cyclopean
I
belongs in the
know
library.
the difference. I would like, oh, this is a great book. It's called Cluster Fudge.
Well, the other night we were shilling the book, and we have a retailer pack, and I went, and by the way, if you just want to buy some for Christmas, you can buy the retailer pack. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, you can't unless you have like adult children. I had to like backpedal it because I was like, oh yeah, it's an adult book. You can't do that.
Yeah, this is why we,
Yeah, that's why you do the selling supposedly.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's so hard, guys.
Right.
Listen, it's hard because prior to him creating comics, I never read a comic in my life. I did not even know how to read a comic book. I'm like, what in God's name is this? Why are there like these? Where do you read? Like how? So he started teaching me how to read. Okay, how to read. This is just water, ice water. I kid you not.
I want to show her the way the comics work.
Yeah,
But
I had no idea.
But then she kind of showed me how a new reader doesn't necessarily read like a kid from the 80s.
Right.
And she's actually helped me to learn how to really lead the eye through a page properly.
Right.
Like, because when she reads it, and I'll do the first lettering section, she'll miss an entire dialogue box because of the way her eye goes.
What was this supposed to be?
I said, what happened?
Yeah.
And so she'll show me what happened, and I'll go, instead of me telling you you're reading it wrong, let me adjust it so it goes the way your eye went.
Right.
So it's really helping the lettering in ways that I never even anticipated, because I always read it, top, left, right, next panel, left, unless it's deliberately leading me around. She doesn't necessarily follow that, so it's helped a lot.
Well, and we want the kids today to start reading comics again. That's like one of our missions for Heroshack. We would love to get our books, the all children books.
Well, and we have to find a way to go digital with it too, because that's where the kids really are.
Yeah.
They do buy books, but they buy books based on cartoons and things they've seen online. Yeah. When we go to the conventions, 13 to 16-year-old kids get really excited when I tell them that I'm thinking about doing a cartoon.
Yeah.
They don't care about the comic unless there's a cartoon.
Right.
So,
so we've talked about that.
Digital, I mean, you can do digital on Amazon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And like motion comics can be enough maybe to get the kids involved. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, like a webtoon.
Or webtoons.
That would actually, like, if you can, like, because people do like webtoons, and if you were to attach that to your comic, it could do really good.
So I'm thinking, I'm glad that you guys have said that. I have gone to the creator, my husband, and said, I think we should do a webtoons. Nah, I don't want to do a webtoon. I'm too busy making. I'm like, okay, well, I think that we need to go to other venues besides Comic Cons and campaigns.
But I am getting to the point where I'm considering it though, because I love paper books, and I think that if you make a good quality webcomic, you can still sell the paper book of it.
Sure.
And it's like, but limiting yourself by not doing anything online, it just seems
digging your heels in and missing the opportunity.
Yeah, some of the biggest crowd funds are literally just webtoons that have been put on paper.
Yeah, like if you were to like create a YouTube channel for your webtoon, right, and you just like it would essentially just be a promotional thing, but like but at the same time it's a webtoon, and I think people could really get behind that.
That's a really good idea, especially with his video expertise. He could do. He really can. He makes some.
She gets amazed, but like, so that video that she saw tonight was just a quickie. It was
Yes, Rick.
Yeah, I think he's right about that too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a quickie. And it's, you guys know video editing. It's just timing. It's just, you listen to the background music and make it snap. And
I don't care. It was impressive. And I liked it. And I showed it to some of the kids I work with, and they loved it. They wanted to know more. Like, where's the cartoon, Miss Diana? Like, it's just sampled. And they're all they're high functioning autism too. So they're like grilling me. Well, what program did he use? And I'm like, oh my God. I've already kind of tested it out on a group of youngsters, and they like the flying one.
Oh, they like that one too. No, I'm talking about the promotional I did for tonight.
I did not show them that.
I know you did not show that. I thought you did. I'm like, really? Okay, I'm just learning something here.
No. The one that you had Cyclopean.
She's talking about this silly one where Cyclopean flies back and forth and then it blows up in a balloon.
Yeah, but they really like
that one was really cool.
So they were
I liked it.
But I think that could be like a good market, and maybe.
Yeah, if we can find the right animator, because the thing is, if you put too much time into something like that, you're not making comics, and that's.
Here we go again.
I'm 8 hours a night on the drawing board. That's where it is,
Well, can't you do like just a different kind of a project? It's still related to comics,
No, there's cartoons and there's comics.
Lorenzo wants us to get into the nitty gritty of the campaign. So
sure.
Real quick, the link has been dropped in the chat all night. It is also in the description. There's 6 days left on this campaign.
Yes.
Woo! Which is already funded for its flexible goal, so you will get the book.
Yeah.
So right now, it looks like there's actually a sale. So we have the digital is going for $5 right now instead of $8. The physical book for $15 instead of $20. Is that just the book?
Physical is the book, but we should tell you, everybody who orders anything ends up with the 2 PDFs, the Cluster Fudge 1 and Cluster Fudge 2. Even though the tier doesn't say it, that was something we decided after, but we had already sold it, so we couldn't edit it.
Right.
Yeah. Then there's the variant, same price as the regular book. Also, the 2 PDFs.
Yeah.
I haven't even gone through. So
That's all right.
The Down and Dirty, which is $30, normally $35, is the digitals and both physicals, right?
Correct.
Book 1 and 2.
Yep.
The retailer 5-pack, that's sort of self-explanatory. The Lorenzo special, which is 2 copies of 1, 2 copies of 2, and 2 copies of the variant, because Lorenzo wants 2 of everything.
That's right.
And then a retailer 10-pack for right now 100 instead of 150, and then the over the top, which includes a T-shirt and an original sketch. So, and that's $350 usually, but now it's going for $300.
Yes. Now let me tell you, if that doesn't sell and you're interested in it, we're going to give that away to one of the backers of the book. So you have 6 days to jump in at 5. Well, no, it wouldn't be 5 at the
physical level.
Right. Because that's what, we're consolidating shipping that way. But if it doesn't sell, we'll give away that original art to one of the physical backers. We don't know which one yet. We'll have to put their names in a hat and draw it. And
basically, that's what we're doing.
So if you're interested but can't afford it, jump in early on the book and maybe you'll get it.
And why are we doing this, Christopher?
Because I have no love of original art. I want to give it away so that it's not sitting there staring at me, so I can make new original art.
There you go.
And there's a T-shirt add-on for any tier you want. Just add it on there when you check out.
Features the original art.
Right. That's a print of the original art. Now, those T-shirts are kick butt. I can't tell you how much I love our T-shirts. I wear those, and it's of course, for me, it's like a billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun.
It is fun. The kids love it.
Yeah.
When they see Cyclopean peeking out from your
Oh, the Cyclopean gets every kid every time. It's just, why wouldn't he? He's got one eye, no face. They're like, what? Yeah, he's cool.
He is cool.
Yeah, I did go a little different. I usually do a slideshow of art in the back, and it was very difficult for me as I was going through the first book, not because it's not well done. It really is, but it's a lot of full pages, very few panels, and so it was trying to get it into the screen so people would still be able to I mean, on this tiny little screen on my laptop, which is what I judge by, because, not everybody's watching on a 36-inch TV or whatever.
I have to be honest there about that, though. Those pages are intentionally like that. Like, that was part of the cluster. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, and oh no, this is not being critical of
no,
the
that's
way you
cool.
did that. I liked it. It fit with what the story was that you were telling. Right. If it didn't, that would have been a completely different thing, but it really did, because it was these big meta ideas on the page, and not just these small panels that were snippets.
And because of the situation in 2, you're going to see a pull away from that, but it kind of drifts back into that as we go back into the fever dream.
Yeah, because it really did need that. It needed all of that to express what was going on the page, really.
And I don't know, when you were reading it, if you noticed that in the pictures, within the pictures, like, there's additional images. I don't know if you picked up on that. That's probably one of my favorite things that Chris has done since the day I met him, 18 years ago. He's always taken these, he starts out with this one thing, and then the next thing I'll look an hour later and it's gotten bigger. And he's like, did you notice this? Did you notice he has a head growing out of his, like, oh my God, I didn't. I love that. I think that's a really,
it's a style that I've drawn ever since I was a kid. And I don't know if it can even be called a genre, but it's just cool doodling, and you just make it into something that pops,
I like that. So when I was reading and editing the book, he would say to me, so how many of, whatever can you find? I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that until you told me. So I think it's
well, sometimes I do stuff and I do have to point it out to her. Like, I did a drawing of Venom once, and in the side in his ribs, I had Brock screaming down the side of his body.
That was so
and
cool.
Nobody caught it until I pointed it out, and then they were all like, and I'm like, yeah, but if you don't see it, it's no good. I can't go tell everybody that, hey, that printer looks bad.
But once you saw it, like, they just weren't looking for it. They weren't used to your style. They didn't know that was one of the things that you do.
Well,
maybe. I don't know.
When I draw that way.
What do I know? I don't know anything.
You know everything.
Yeah, right.
You know all my secrets.
Anyways, guys.
This has been so much fun. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. I want you to know that it's super late for me. I said 10:30. I'm usually in bed by then. But I will do it.
Yeah.
It's like we have West Coast friends.
I know. This is awesome.
Well, he's on the West.
Yeah, it's
West
just
Coast.
me.
Yeah, and I'm over on the other side of the country, so it's.
Well, I'm hanging my flag on Dean's mic pole.
Was that are you hitting on me, Chris?
With your wife sitting right there?
What was that?
Microphones.
Explain that to me.
I have no idea.
You're hanging the flag on
the West Coast on his mic post.
Mean?
Mic post like this. See the mics.
Oh my God. Yeah. I can't even see what I'm saying, you guys. Like, I don't even know. I have no idea. I'm gonna have him break it down. Like, that made no sense.
Well, like when you go to the phone, you put your flag in the post and boom.
Where did that come from?
Because he's on the West Coast, so I'm like, boom, represent.
So we're gonna wrap this up, but before we do, I don't
Yeah.
know how many of you guys in the chat are familiar with hockey. He does a show with Allie, and he's a really nice guy. He's a goofball, but he's a really nice guy. His daughter currently has a GoFundMe up, and she is she's actually the one in charge of this GoFundMe, and it was a beautiful little read. She's 15 and has severe depression. She was hospitalized earlier this year, and she lost her pet rabbits, and they were her support animals. That unfortunately, because of allergy issues, in order for her to get another cat, she's looking to get one of those hairless Sphinx so they can actually have it in the house, and they are kind of pricey. But she's looking for a new support animals, had a lot of trouble because of the COVID lockdowns and things like that. So I'm dropping the GoFundMe in the chat here. So when you're done backing Cluster Fudge 2, if you could go on over and maybe help out Hockey and his family and his daughter Isabella, and put a little money in the kitty, so to speak. So I just wanted to get that out before we close up. I thought it was kind of important, and if you guys could just share the link out on your Twitters and things like that, that would be great. So, I know it'd end on a downer note, but
no, it's not.
Please, you know what, guys, go support this
yeah,
girl.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm going to, as soon as we get off, I'm gonna look for the link.
Yeah, we have to go. I almost blew it up, but we have to go to the YouTube
and I
to get
will
the
share
link.
it on my Twitter.
Yeah, I've got the link is in the description, as well as the link for the Indiegogo of Cluster Fudge 2.
Yes.
You guys are so fantastic. You're like my favorite internet couple. And I want
to.
Well, you guys are my favorite internet couple.
Oh dear God! Here we
go.
go.
We're not a couple.
I'm gonna go kill myself.
Yeah.
Please. Okay.
Vicky tried to plant her flag on my mic pole. And
no, I did not.
She did. She did. I called the cops on her. She definitely did.
Please don't call the cops on Chris. He doesn't know what he's saying. This is why he makes comic books. It can get edited. Oh my God.
But thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been great.
Yes.
Thank you for having
yeah.
us.
Good night, everybody. And we will see you later on this week on the Pause Show. Actually, I believe that Smug is going to be scheduling it for Thursday instead of the usual Wednesday. And then we'll be back over on our joint channel Sunday night at 10:30. All right. Thanks a lot. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.